Bashan is a key player, especially when it comes to discussing Og, king of Bashan, and him being, as the Bible quotes, like the last king of the giants during the conquest of Canaan. We have this really magnificent scene in Psalms 22, where even though it's David rendering the psalm, it seems to be the words of Jesus Christ as he's up on the cross. He talks about his bones being all out of joint, but
Yeah.
not broken. We know that his body specifically, his bones were not broken, they were out of joint. But he says something really interesting there, and he says, "Behold, I am encompassed on all sides by the bulls of Bashan."
Yeah.
What is he referencing there when he makes that distinction?
Hmm. Well, Bashan is part of Mount Hermon.
Okay, so
Mount
he's is
Hermon is the location to the assembly of all polytheism on Earth. So the bulls can be understood in a couple of ways. I mean, you have the cherubim who have four faces. One of them
mm,
is either you can look at that as an ox or a bull.
so he's more or less talking directly to the watchers at that point. Like
Yeah.
I would imagine at that scene, they're probably surrounding Golgotha. They're watching, thinking, "Hey, we
Yeah.
did it, boys. We
Yeah.
won."
And the demigods that were created of, they're also kind of called bulls because they're strong as bulls and they're thick and they are the fatlings of Bashan as part of the allegory as they're slaughtered in Ezekiel 38 and 39. And you get similar imagery at the Mount, at the Armageddon battle as well. And
Mhm.
that imagery there is again to link you back to these bloodlines, to back to
Mm.
these gods, back to their mountain, that we have to be aware of, even though our churches don't. Um, our churches don't teach it. And in Isaiah 25, you have another accounting of these terrible ones that in the end time are going to be destroyed on a mountain.
Huh. Wow, more credence to the big send off there being atop Mount Hermon.
Yeah. Now, there's also a passage in the Psalms in 21, right before 22 that you're talking about, where he's dealing with all of these spiritual beings that are taunting him and doing all sorts of things. And who knows what they're capable of doing at that time, but they're certainly not making it any more pleasant for Jesus while he's on the cross. Not that that could be pleasant to begin with, but in Psalms 21, it's talking about the time of the end time in verses 9 through 11 is very, very enlightening. That, and you'll never hear this verse sort of talked about in church. You just won't. You have, these things have to be not talked about, because or they have to make up things that they get very
Mhm.
uncomfortable with. So, and I'm just going to read it because it's just this powerful to understand, and why we have to understand things about the giants and how it's connected to the end time and our resonatra. So it says, thou shalt make them as a fiery oven in the time of thine anger, and the Lord shall swallow them up in his wrath, and the fire shall devour them. So it's clearly an end time
Mhm.
wrath, anger prophecy. Verse 10 gets really interesting here. Their fruit thou destroy from the earth, and their seed from amongst the children of men.
Hmm.
This is talking about a different set of beings than humankind. And it says in verse 11, for they intended evil against thee, and they imagined mischievous device which they are not able to perform.
Hmm.
So this is and they're called the specific branch of the terrible ones in Isaiah 25 that will be destroyed in the end time on the mountain.
Wild.